While people do love dining out, let's hear from the pros on what you should avoid. Here are the 10 worst foods to eat at a restaurant according to chefs. Cheap Kobe beef.
The good cheap stuff.
Kobe beef is known as one of the best cuts of beef that money can buy, and for meat lovers, it's the absolute perfect main course. But if the price seems too good to be true at a restaurant, it's probably for a good reason. Kobe beef is not a cheap cut of meat, so if a restaurant is able to sell it for a low price, it's likely not actually Kobe beef.
Fake.
For those not in the know, Kobe beef is beef from a very specific line of cows from Japan. This type of beef is limited because of where it comes from and the fact that they can only raise so many cows per year. Due to this fact, this specific beef is not cheap for anyone to buy, not even restaurants. Therefore, the price of real Kobe beef at a restaurant is higher. Any place that can sell it at a discounted price is not truly serving you what you expect. You're better off paying the higher price to get the actual Kobe beef you want. The specials.
Our special today is coho salmon.
Sounds disgusting. Do you have chicken fingers?
The specials at a restaurant can be very hit or miss. You're either getting a fantastic dish that the restaurant and chefs really want to highlight, or you're getting whatever food is coming close to its expiry date, which is on special to try and get rid of it and at least make some sort of money rather than throwing it away. The other reason that you may not want to order the specials offered by the restaurant is because they will often make it in large batches and pre-make it in anticipation of having people order a lot of it. That means it was made a while ago, so you're probably not getting a fresh meal. And with the prices that some restaurants charge, you would definitely expect to get something freshly made. Specials also tend to be dishes that are the cheapest to make and marked up in price the most, meaning you're paying more for a dish that might otherwise be offered cheaper if it was not on special.
We need the money.
If you don't mind taking a bit of a gamble on whether you're getting fresh food or food near the end of its life, the restaurant's specials are a good option. Otherwise, you're better off ordering something off the menu that is made fresh, and likely made with fresher ingredients as well. Oysters.
Have you ever had oysters?
Oysters may be a tempting dish to order for those who love seafood and shellfish, but a lot of restaurants may not follow the quality control steps that are required to make sure they'll not make anyone sick. Oysters are notorious for their potential to make people very sick if they're not shipped, stored, or handled properly. They can even potentially kill you if they're in bad enough condition.
Maybe next time, Deshaun.
If you're visiting a restaurant that specializes in seafood and shellfish, you're likely safe ordering oysters. But if oysters are just a side option, you're better off getting something else. It's hard to tell if oysters have gone off. Many people will not notice until feeling sick after eating them. If you're eating at a restaurant near a seaside cove where they can be harvested, you're probably a bit safer, as it's likely that they come from those waters and do not need to be transported far. This reduces the potential risk that they could have gone off while they were being transported. A good way to tell if you're likely getting quality oysters is to also look at the price point. The lower the price for the oysters, the more likely you're going to get less quality oysters, which means your risk of illness increases from eating them as well. New to BabbleTop? Then become an official BabbleTopper by hitting that subscribe button.
Thank you. Next!
Fish on Mondays.
Yes, I eat the fish.
Most food suppliers and fish markets are closed over the weekend, which means a lot of restaurants will order their fish and seafood a few days before the weekend. Fish that has been sitting for a while, as we all know, is not the best quality and may taste rubbery or off. If ordering fish on Monday, restaurants will either have kept it in the freezer and defrosted it, which lowers the quality of the fish, or it will have sat in the fridge for an extended period of time. Having it sit in the fridge means that not only does it have a chance of going bad without the kitchen staff noticing, but it also means it could potentially have absorbed some of the smells of the other items in the fridge, which will alter the taste, and vice versa.
What is that smell? You smell that?
So if you're looking for some delicious fish, it would probably be best to do so in the middle of the week or near the end. A good way to find out if you're truly eating fresh fish is to find out what days the local fish market is open for business. That way you know what days restaurants are likely to get their fish deliveries, and you can choose the best days to go out for a nice seafood dinner. Salad bar.
Mitch, did you just take a crouton from the salad bar?
Salad bars are a good thing in theory. I mean, who doesn't want to make their own salad and choose exactly what they want to put in it?
Not me, obviously.
You would think that would be the perfect way to enjoy a salad when at a restaurant, but you might want to avoid the salad bar next time you go out to eat. Unfortunately, there's no real way for the restaurant to stop people from touching food with their fingers and not actually taking the food they touch. Some people are rude enough to use their hands to take food instead of using the provided utensils. You also never know who may have coughed or sneezed on the food, which is a really gross thing to think about while dishing up your salad. While salad bars do have a glass or plastic guard to try and prevent exactly that from happening, it's not impossible for the germs to get around it and land on the food anyways. You're much better off just ordering a salad off the menu where it's made for you by the kitchen staff. Most kitchens are happy to substitute out dressings or other minor ingredients in their menu salads, as long as the salad is not fully pre-made beforehand. Something you can make at home.
I can do it myself.
The fun of a restaurant is getting to order things that you don't necessarily eat all the time, to try new things or meals that you're not used to making for yourself at home. If the dish you order at the restaurant is something you have the ingredients and capability to make yourself, it sort of defeats the purpose of going out in the first place.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
At that point, you might as well have just saved yourself some time and money, stayed home, and made the dish yourself. If a dish on the menu is something you've often at home, or something you could go home and make yourself, it's probably best to just avoid it and order something a little different than the usual. Food is marked up in price at the restaurant as well. It's how they make money in order to keep their business open. So it seems sort of pointless to order something at a restaurant and pay more for it when you could have just cooked it at home on your own. Unless you have food allergies or a certain diet, which means you can only eat certain things, at which point it's understandable that you would order something you're used to eating. Aside from those with specific dietary needs, it's a lot more fun and a lot more worth your money to go to a restaurant and try something that you're not making for yourself every week at home. Wedge salad.
Do yourself a favor and join me in a wedge salad.
Wedge salads are based around a few wedges of iceberg lettuce. These salads often come with a hefty price markup and tend to be pretty basic for the price you're paying. Not only that, but it comes with a generic or store-bought dressing instead of something freshly made or more unique. If you're looking for a salad, you're better off with one of the other options served at the restaurant, as you'll likely at least get something other than basic lettuce with typical dressing. Iceberg lettuce is also known for being composed of mainly water. 95% of it is water, in fact, meaning you will likely be left still hungry or will be hungry again shortly after consuming this kind of salad, unless you have a really small appetite. As a side salad, it's not the worst thing to get, but if you're ordering a wedge salad as your main dish, you may want to consider getting something else.
I'll never make that mistake again.
There are plenty of other salad options out there, or if you're simply looking for something that has no meat in it, there are also plenty of other vegetarian options served up at many restaurants. All in all, wedge salad is not the best option when you're choosing to eat out somewhere instead of eating at home. Bread.
Bread makes you fat.
Bread makes you fat?
Bread is not always a good option when it comes to eating at a restaurant, as tempting as it is, since the bread tends to smell and look great. Often, though, the bread is not what you're expecting. It can be a little stale, or it just doesn't taste as good as you hoped. With free bread, there's a good possibility that you're served leftovers from someone else's table, which is something that a lot of customers might be fairly surprised to find out. Typically, it's assumed that any bread you're offered is fresh and brought directly to you, and any bread you do not finish is gotten rid of. If someone does not eat all the bread when they're there, it's often piled together in a new dish and offered to the next customer, meaning you could be eating bread that had potentially been touched by someone else.
Ugh.
Yeah, ew.
Ugh, gross, right, guys?
You never know how many people might have touched the bread on your table before you eat it, which is just really disgusting to think about. On top of that, you end up filling up on bread before your meal, meaning when you get around to getting your actual food, you'll not be able to enjoy it as much because you're not nearly as hungry. Whether the bread is free with your meal or something you ordered off the menu, it's probably a good option to avoid unless you really, really like bread. Hollandaise sauce.
Can anyone tell me the difference between a Hollandaise and a Béarnaise sauce?
Hollandaise sauce is popular among breakfast enthusiasts, and for good reason. If done properly, Hollandaise sauce is a fantastic complement to your Eggs Benedict and any other food that it might be added as a topping to as well. Oftentimes, this sauce is not made to order, meaning it's made in large batches, usually when the restaurant first opens. This means that it can sit for quite a while before it's needed and served, and it's been noted that because of its ingredients, Hollandaise sauce tends to attract bacteria quickly. Hollandaise sauce is egg-based, so having it sit for an extended period of time increases the chance that it could go bad, meaning you could enjoy your Hollandaise sauce while you're eating it, but it could potentially make you very sick after the fact.
Hold that thought.
Avoiding Hollandaise sauce while eating out is a good thing, unless you know for sure that it has been freshly made and not sauce that has been sitting there for an extended period of time. Hollandaise sauce is also a sauce that is a little harder to get right if you're not used to making it, so even if it is freshly made, it might not be what you're hoping for. Soup of the day.
What is the soup du jour?
It's the soup of the day.
That sounds good. I'll have that.
The soup of the day is very similar to the restaurant specials. Typically, the soup of the day is chosen based on what ingredients they need to get rid of at the time.
Are you sneaky?
This is a restaurant trick employed by many establishments to move product before stuff spoils. However, this is not the case for every single restaurant out there. Some of them may genuinely just be offering soups that they think their customers will enjoy, or custom soups created by their chefs. But a lot of them do use the soup of the day trick to sell off older items quickly, meaning you're ordering something and expecting a fresh and hot soup, but you might be getting a soup made from less than fresh ingredients. Ordering the soup of the day can be okay if the price is right and you're not necessarily expecting the highest of quality, but if it's only soup for you, then you're definitely better off ordering a bowl off the menu. While these soups are also made in fresh batches, they're more likely going to be made from fresh ingredients, as they're not trying to push it out the door as quickly as the soup of the day.
Trust me when I say this.
Tune in to more great videos. Just tap or click. First time here? Then leave us a comment, hit that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell.